House of Representatives. He's Executive Director, Center for Advanced and Dynamic Leadership for Development. He joins us remotely. A fine morning to you, Dr. Osagie. Okay, let me try again, Dr. Osagie. Good morning, and thank you very much for making the time for us this morning.
Thank you, my brother. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Indeed, it is our pleasure. So, of course, it's on everybody's lips, everybody's mind, the current pains coming from the subsidy of PMS being removed. Now, there's no way it wasn't going to be removed, as the president had said. So here we are. So it's about easing the pains of subsidy removal. Inflation, as it is now, is at 22.22% as of April, according to figures. And the World Bank says that, look, when this happens, it's likely to, hike. There will be a temporary hike. So it's like these pains are there. What is your idea on how, these are like birth pains. What's your idea on how we can ease those pains for Nigerians?
Well, thank you, my brother. I must confess that Nigeria is undergoing very grueling experience economically at this point in time. And at the very center of it all is the fact that inflation has hit the roof, with cost of living rising astronomically almost on a daily basis, with no immediate solution in sight. Is very distressing, and is very heavy on the citizens of this country at this point in time.
But also
now,
necessary.
The question you ask is that
I added, but also necessary. Would you agree?
Yes, necessary at this point in time. I was coming to that. The question to ask is, what is government doing? Is the steps government taking enough to cushion the effects that we are feeling? And I dare say that from what government has set out to do in order to reduce the burden, economic burden on the citizens, it is not as if the people themselves do not understand what government is doing. But of course, you know that anybody under pain will immediately be looking for a solution almost immediately. Some of these steps have their positive impact, and they are going to have their positive impact in the long run. But government is doing everything possible to make sure that succor comes. But in doing that thing which will remove the pains from the people, government must look into very seriously its implementation strategy. I'm aware that government has set out a number of palliatives, a number of measures in order to address this teething economic problem that is biting hard on the masses. These solutions are at best, in the moment, going to be in the short run, and implementation strategies and ensuring that this thing gets to the very people is also very important. And the criticisms of the people is that if it's not well managed, the elites may hijack the process, and at the end of the day, we may face a situation where the masses for who these palliatives are meant may not benefit from it after all. So I dare say that at this point in time, it is incumbent on government to devise uncommon strategies to monitor what it has set out to do. It is not in doubt that people have confidence in this government. It is not the doubt that people have confidence in the capacity and ability of the president just elected to tackle the challenges. But what is in doubt is the fact that those that will be charged with the responsibility of administering and implementing the strategies for reducing this economic hardship are not going to be trusted by the mass of the people. And I think government must look into that very seriously in order to devise means and strategies of monitoring.
Okay, indeed. So thank you very much. And you see, what you said in there, it sort of aligns with a document I saw by KPMG, and they were saying that one of the most important things that government is going to have to do is to communicate the removal of PMS fuel subsidies to the Nigerian public. That is a very, very important aspect of the process. And oftentimes, governments, for whatever reason, you know, they're not like the private sector, that those ones will put money behind an important, crucial communication. Government oftentimes does not. But that KPMG document I'm talking about, when they were just giving an overview of this, said that that is a crucial aspect of it, explaining the rationale for the removal of food subsidy, of not food subsidy, we don't, of PMS subsidy. Because perhaps when people understand it well, then they can better bear this matter. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. That KPMG point of view, that it's going to be very, very crucial for government to communicate this thing very, very well to the people.
Yes, absolutely correct. I also read that KPMG document to a point, and it raised a number of challenges that the process of implementing the palliatives, the challenges that it will face, one of which is constant communication, and two, the issues of corruption. Yes. Now, I believe so much that the government is sincere in wanting to alleviate the suffering of the people. The government is also sincere in attempting to do these economic reforms by way of removing fuel subsidy that have become a behemoth on the economic life of our country. Now, the challenge is in the implementation of these strategies. And that is why, for me, government must, side by side with pushing for these palliatives, consider the long-term, the medium and longer-term strategy that will give economic succor to Nigerians and then bring this inflationary trend, you know, that is hitting the roof. And I dare say that that strategy is to fixing our refinery. There can be no alternative to local refining of our crude oil. There is no alternative to that. In order for us to ensure that we have the prices, you know, that will best suit the Nigerian people, we need to refine our products. We are large enough as an economy. Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa. We are large enough to refine our economy. The answer lies in refining our local product. And I just say that Mr. President must consider that as a matter of urgency and as a matter of, in the enlightened self-interest of our great country. If we don't make our refineries work, we will continue in the vicious circle that we have, the nation has subjected its citizens. And I think that is very important. Now, coming to the issues of cutting costs and ensuring that waste is reduced in order that resources are channeled to social services and infrastructures that benefit both the mass of the people, the entrepreneurs, so that the cost of doing business can go down. It is also very important. Now, I hear a whopping sum of 1.9 trillion, you know, has been earned for the last month, and the National Economic Council is going to send to the distributive pool for the 3 tiers of government about 900 billion. Now, about 700 billion to be put in infrastructure development fund. That is good enough. Those infrastructure must include, of necessity and of priority, the rehabilitation, resuscitation of our refineries.
Okay.
So that in the next few months, if we start refining our products, then we are not going to be told by the NNPC or the marketers that market forces is forcing the price of petroleum products up, or that the cost of importing petroleum products has increased owing to the rise in the exchange rate. Nobody will tell us that. If we refine products in Port Harcourt, Kaduna, Yori, and then you supply to the citizens, you are not going to have the foreign exchange component in doing that. You certainly will not. And that will drastically force down the cost of petroleum products for the Nigerian citizens. Because it's an abundant natural resource that God has blessed us with. It should not be our cost. It should not be our Waterloo. It should not be our albatross the way it is now. So I suggest very strongly to Mr. President that fixing the refinery must be a matter of categorical imperative for this government. And that is very important. Of course, the second point, which I will highlight if time permits, is that this government must do the uncommon thing. Nigerians have cried and cried enough for the reduction of the cost of governance. I think now is the time, and if President Tinubu attempt to reduce the cost of governance across board, then Nigerians will begin, to have much more confidence in the government and its ability, to drive the policies it is doing. Because Nigerians cannot continue to cry and weep under the heavy burden of inflation, while those in government are living in opulence. Now, that is also very key. We also must make sacrifices, those of us in government. If it was practiced in the past, we can now see that it has not benefited us. So we must look inwards and live. Public officers should begin to now live Spartan lifestyle, so that the masses that they are representing can understand that these sacrifices are being made, across board. Indeed. And I think these two areas will make this president a most desired president that Nigeria has ever had.
Indeed. All of what you've just said sort of comes under that aspect of this conversation where Nigerians will need to be communicated to as to the benefits of the removal of this subsidy, because it was immediate. Now, whereas the benefits might not be immediately seen, they need to be seen sooner rather than later, and perhaps that's another challenge in there, because when you are, quote-unquote, suffering, but are able to still smile a bit because you can see some of the benefits of your suffering, surely that will go a long way in sort of settling people down and saying very much like, and understanding very much as you have said, that we also have to, bear part of this sacrifice.
I agree with you. Communication is key to effective leadership, and of course governance. The presidency and of course the government must continue to speak to the people of this country. I understand that the presidential spokesman has been speaking on this matter. The president has also been using the opportunity of meeting with various interest groups, women group, the traditional institutions, former governors, public officers, across board that he has been meeting with to drum the support for the policies of government. But it must not stop. The president must continue to talk to Nigerians, must continue to explain to Nigerians, must continue to talk and not get tired. Because it is only when the citizens constantly hears what the government is doing, what is intended to do, and what benefit will accrue in the long term, that they can begin to exercise those patience, because they will continue to get that assurance. So I agree with KPMG that communication is key. It must continue to communicate. Even the most difficult issues, I must continue to explain it to the mass of the people. And I think that will go a long way to give them the assurance that better days lies ahead.
Indeed. Okay. Reverend Dominic has come on the line. Good morning to you, Reverend.
Good morning, Chief Yori. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
I hope your guest will hear me too.
Yes, I'm sure he can hear us.
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Dr. Samson Osagie.
let me play what they call devil's advocate. Yori, if you remember, you host Engineer Bala in your studio a month ago, if you remember very well. And Bala, as an expert, a good friend of mine said that removing subsidy, what we call gain, will be worse than if we remove subsidy. We're going to face a very bad time than giving subsidy. You have said it over and over. Just look at what is happening today. If we have done what we need to do, if you can hear me, can you hear me?
Please continue. Please continue. Reverend, continue, please.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, let me on. But Engineer Bala was saying that this subsidy we want to remove, if we remove it, the crisis and inflation that will take over it will worse than keeping subsidy. And today we are seeing it. And nobody will believe what I'm going to say. Yori, the inflation is above anything on Nigeria. Now, there's a 10,000 or 8,000 we want to give some Nigerians. Yori, I said it before. Who is making plans for you and for me? Does it mean that I'm not part of Nigeria? Does it mean I don't have a car? Or I don't have right to eat in Nigeria? If I'm making a plan for 12 billion people, who makes plan for 190 billion people? We did the wrong thing at the wrong time. Look at what is it. If we make our refineries available, at least I don't think fuel will go to 300 naira. Because we remove ferries, we remove cargo, we remove shipping. If we remove it, if we are producing food in Nigeria, if our refineries are working, then what is working, and we remove subsidy, fine. Food will not be more than 300 to 400. Because if you talk to marketers, I'll talk to one of them. It's when they bought with $1 about 800 naira a dollar. You pay for cargo, you pay maritime, you pay customs. All these things added cost to this 617 naira. But if our refinery is working, it's not a shame to us that an OPEC member nation is not having a refinery that's working. Why should we import food after all? Yori, we must return back the subsidy. If we want to see Nigeria not to go the way of Zimbabwe or other nations, we must return this subsidy. And if we go this way, we will need to see the consequence of it in Nigeria. Because nobody can manage. If people means well, they cannot manage the inflation that this subsidy is about to bring. Even people who say catfish, even people who say water, transportation, my daughter cannot go to work again because of transportation. How do you manage it?
All right. Keep going. Okay, Reverend. Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic, for calling in. Well, Dr. Sagie, you heard him, and I guess what he's saying will resonate with many Nigerians. You know, Dr. Sagie, that we've been, I won't say toying, but we've been trying to engage with this issue for quite a number of administrations before this time has come. And among the commentary that I've heard is that, look, it's okay to remove subsidy, but there are some preparatory work that needs to be done before you remove it. But the way it came, it took everybody by surprise. As you remember, on Inauguration Day, the president just said the words, "It has gone." And that was it. Within an hour, by the very next day, pumps were adjusted all over the place. So this is one of the challenges. What do you think about that particular opinion, that in an ideal case scenario, some of the things Reverend Dominic was talking about might have been worked out and put in place before the deed was done? Because we're talking here, the subsidy, all this financial, assistance and all of that, it's only for the poor and vulnerable. And there are many people who will say that, look, if you don't want to call me poor, call me vulnerable. Myself, I deserve something. I'm managing. I can't survive. How would you comment, Dr. Sagie?
Well, to be honest, Reverend Dominic actually captured the mood of the nation in terms of the very gloomy picture, the economic picture that we see today. And like I said at the beginning, it's very distressing and it's very unfortunate.
You know what, Dr. Sagie, Dr. Sagie, I beg your pardon. Let me interrupt you because Ada has also called in from Jos. Let me add her, presentation as well, and then you can sort of mop it up. Good morning to you, Ada.
All right.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Yori, and good morning to your guests. It's Ada Uno, calling from the Plateau State. For me, you know, I took a look at what happened. That is on the, although I didn't like the way President Tinubu announced it that subsidy is gone, you know, and all that on the inaugural speech. But when I looked at it again, Mr. Yori, truth must be said. If he has wanted to choose a method of going to talk about it, he cannot do it. But the only thing I'm trying to say now is that let him adopt a better way of easing the pain. That is now not focusing on vulnerable people or whatever. Let them now inject it into the health sector, education, agriculture, electricity, all those things that will create an enabling environment, you know, so that investors can come and invest and people can also, employ themselves. Then another thing they should do is to harness the compressed natural gas. They said if we do that, it's an alternative to fuel, so that will help the price of fuel to crash too. Then again, in addition to this, our refineries, they're not talking about it again. Those refineries must be fixed. No amount of palliative can ease this pain. Those refineries must be fixed. That's my take on it. All the same, let's not give up on Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Ada. Dr. Sagi, now that you've heard that as well, it's still going back to Nigerians need to see almost immediately the benefits of this sacrifice.
Yes, Ada actually took the wind off my sail in my response to Reverend Dominic. I was going to say that no nation grows without undergoing reforms. Even the most developed countries of the world today are constantly undergoing reforms, which inconveniences its citizens at one point or the other. And these reforms, Nigeria must undergo it, and of course, we must bear the pains. I spoke to somebody yesterday, he said because I'm in Abuja, I don't feel it. The truth is that I filled my tank with over 70,000 naira a day. I was traveling to Makurdi. So this challenge is for everybody, and it is not everybody that can actually bear it, you know, in the current circumstances. But it is something we have to go through. Now, let's look at it. Sustaining the fuel subsidy regime within the context of the economic bloom that we were presented with, you know, in the twilight of the last administration, is something that no government who wants to succeed would have been able to continue with. In the first place, even if President Tinubu had not announced that subsidy was gone, this condition we are finding ourselves now is what we would have still come to, because by June 30th, the budget of 2023, which make provisions for subsidy up to June 30th, you know, would have lapsed. And from July 1st, government would not have been able to handle the situation by paying more subsidy to continue it. So it is not the announcement of President Tinubu, you know, that caused the removal of subsidy, as a matter of fact. It is the budget of the national government which allows subsidy to be paid up to June 30th.
Yes.
Now, let's look at the issues very critically. Now, can we continue as a nation to feed a few businessmen and allow them to continue to line up their pockets at the expense of the greater majority of the people? The answer is no. Because what we find today, for instance, you can see the way price of fuel jumped to 617. And then we are hearing all kinds of excuses. The truth of the matter is that all those who are in the business of petroleum products are fighting back. That is the truth. And they will come and tell you that it's the forces of demand and supply. What is the meaning of that? Okay, Dr. Sagi. People who have been lining importers of fuel, who have benefited from the subsidy regime, in the last over a decade, and have made stupendous wealth out of it, are still continuing, you know, to grow the citizens. Okay, Dr. Sagi. Petroleum products. Dr. Sagi, sorry to butt in. Before you continue on this critical look that you're taking at the issue, Hussein has called in from Jos. Good morning, Mr. Hussein.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Yori.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
The truth is that, let's say the truth, Mr. Yori, the people that have been enjoying the same subsidies for all these years, that we as Nigerians are suffering, economy is bad, that's because of this issue of subsidies, are the ones that are truncating all this effort. Sorry to say this. The only thing that is left to do is for the NLC, who are the body now talking and complaining about this, to alliance with the federal government, that the president have to sincerely, honestly, look at what is happening in NNPC. If situation will warrant that, let there be reshufflement seriously in NNPC, complete overhaul of NNPC. Because they have been mismanaging, they are the ones that are mismanaging this process of subsidy that bring us up to this problem. So also the issue of refinery, even if whoever is being elected today as a president in this country, if the issue of those people handling refineries and other people are not being handled, reshuffling them from that place, who are the brains behind all these things, that we've been paying billions of naira in dollars to turn around maintenance, and up to now that is not working. Who are they? If we cannot trace these people, do away with these people, then we cannot, you cannot start building a house from the roof.
All right, Mr. Hussein, I want to thank you very much for calling in. I wonder, on that point, you brought in the NNPC. You probably saw, I don't know if Mr. Hussein saw it or not, but there was a report yesterday where I think the title was something along the lines of fresh facts emerge about the NNPC. And therein, in the report, when you look at the report, there were, aspects of it talking about a campaign of misinformation or disinformation, misinformation of the people, of the public. And I think it's coming out of NNPC that mischief makers, are actually putting out all of this. And these mischief makers might not be too far removed from the beneficiaries of the fuel subsidy when it was in place. President Tinubu, to return to you, Dr. Sagie, President Tinubu had said that during the campaign that he's not going to be among those that will be, sponsoring our revered brothers in neighboring countries, Cotonou, Niger, and not to mention all the people that we've always known as the usual suspects within the country that have been benefiting from this. So, Dr. Osage, back to you there. Two things that came up now. One, NNPC was brought into it now, but you might have seen the report yesterday where NNP, was also saying that there's a lot of misinformation going on and things are not very much the way people are saying everything is NNPC, that when you take a look at the facts, you see that it's not as the shall I say, the rumor mill and social media is putting it. But we're looking here at how to ease the pains. I just wanted to put that in perspective. Would you like to continue, Dr. Sagie?
Yes, I believe that in all of this, NNPC has a role to play. It is the government-owned oil company, and it is also a participant in the oil industry. In fact, it's a major participant, it's a major stakeholder. It has just been transformed into a limited liability company, which puts it at par with other companies that are involved in oil production. But as government-owned company, it owes the citizens a duty to continue to enlighten the people and push for a much more liberal approach to oil management, oil and oil product management in this country, because it is owned by government. Now, the point again is that the challenge is not the government. The challenge is from those who are involved in the oil marketing and importation in this country. Now, government does all things in order to encourage them to be able to do this, including providing forests, at official rates. Even now that Mr. President have urged that, directed that there should be a uniform rate, You know, the truth of the matter is that over time, petroleum products importers have always had exchange rate at the official rate. But they are going to come around and tell you, oh, the fluctuation in the exchange rate is affecting them. The truth of the matter is that many of them were not importing fuels at those exchange rates outside the I and E window. They created the I and E window was importers and exporters window was created because of these marketers so that they can have what they call the official rate at that time. So, and at every little thing, they pass the buck to the mass of the people in order to make the government, to blackmail the government and make the government unpopular. So it didn't just start with this government, it has been on.
Yeah.
And like I said, I am a repentant supporter of fuel subsidy removal. We fought against it long ago, but the truth of the matter is that we must all apologize to President Jonathan, you know, when he did attempted to do it 1st of January 2012. So a nation must undergo reform, and this president and this government must continue to muster the will and the courage to drive this process of reform while having his eyes on the ball, which is the ultimate welfare of the citizens of this country.
All right, then. Sorry, Dr. Sagi, I got to go on a break now, but please stay with us. We'll be right back, continue this conversation, and also keep taking your calls from home. Stay with us, please.
Green Angle, in partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
It's not your regular show. It's an online interactive session where we share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. I am passionate about our country. I choose to support any conversation geared towards building a better Nigeria. Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Join me every Saturday on TVC News YouTube channel as I discuss Nigeria and the world at large on the show Issues with Jide.
Okay, welcome back, and our guest this morning is Dr. Samson Osagie. He's a legal practitioner, a former minority whip in the House of Representatives. This day he's the executive director, Center for Advanced Dynamic Leadership for Development, and we're looking at the pains of the subsidy removal, and more importantly, appropriating the savings and benefits of PMS subsidy removal in a very, very timely manner so that people will see it, because it's going to get worse. We have been alerted by economists that, look, if we're complaining now, inflation at 22.22% according to the experts as of April, they say it's going to get worse. So if we're complaining now and it's going to get worse, we just are going to be needing to be hearing some good news, seeing some good, changes for it to be bearable. So that is the challenge right there. I think most people are supportive of the removal of this subsidy, but what they probably didn't bargain for or didn't fully consider was the axiom that you can't have your cake and eat it. We've done what needs to be done, but there are going to be consequential pains. And that is what this government has to manage, and that's what we're talking about, right, Dr. Osagie?
Sorry, I didn't hear you well. You were very faint.
Okay. Well, I was just sort of,
yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I was aligning it for whoever has just joined us that the conundrum we have is that We've done what we need to do with the removal of subsidy, but perhaps we didn't consider that, as they say, you can't have your cake and eat it. Now we've done this, which is necessary, but it is now hitting people fully that, oh dear, is this what it takes? So I then opined that government is going to have to be quite smart in letting people see the benefits of the removal, and you know, so that it will be more bearable. Well, in the meantime, let me take Gbenga calling in from Abuja. Good morning to you, Mr. Gbenga.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Just Yori, yeah.
Yes, Yori, okay. Good morning to your guest there.
Yes, Dr. Sagi.
The subsidy removal, there are two things I want to address. Number one, government needs more advocacy. Many of the citizens have not really understood what the removal of subsidy means. That there is total deregulation. They still believe President of Tinubu or government is the one fixing the prices, or NMPC fixing the prices. They have not seen that this has come to the level of kerosene and diesel in the market, or to the level of other products in the market that the manufacturer or the marketer looking at market forces determine the price. People are still saying, why can't they inform the populace before they increase it, that tomorrow we are going to increase it, do we agree with the price? Call a conference. That needs to be addressed, because without that, people see the government as a bad government. I hate them, even though they support the social subsidy, that no, why should they do this to us at this time? Number two is that at the same time, government needs to make the palliative to reach the people, to meet the people at the right time, because people are losing patience because of the pain. The governors have a lot to do. They should not be the federal government alone. The governor has the trust of the people. Let them roll out their own program, independent of what the presidency or the government, the federal, is doing. Because the government as the federal has its own plan, the state also being its own plan, because they are close to the people. And now, all the money they are sharing now, it's saying this July they want to share about 900 billion naira. That money they are sharing is because of it has been removed. That's why they have that money. Let them give their state, the citizens of that state, the plan, how they use that money to benefit the people, telling the downtrodden, the middle class, so as to be able to increase the pain. The government has a lot to do. And then rejecting that register, saying that it's not authentic, to me, I don't accept it. That register is authentic. They should put in that register, they can kind of verify who are that register. Are they still alive or not? But if the state bring their own register, they will bring policies into it. Before you see it, they say APC members are the ones doing it. That will be confusion in the state. Because the chairman of other opposition will say, no, that name does not contain a member. It's APC member. You know, we say, no, it's a PDP list. It's not a list. Before you know it, there'll be confusion. And time is going. People are losing patience with the government. Thank you very much, Sayori.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gbenga, for calling in. Dr. Sagie, yeah, I think, can you hear us now? It got a bit funny.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Loud and clear.
Would you like to react to that? Because actually,
yes,
Gbenga was saying the point I made about government advocacy is indispensable right now.
Absolutely.
Continue, sir.
Yes, absolutely correct. He made a very strong point on the issue, and I think that this whole exercise must be devoid of politics of whatever kind. This is not a political matter, and there is no market that APC member goes that is different from the market that other members of political party goes to. So this is not to be politicized, and the fact that states have been involved in this whole process, rather than complicate issues, should complement the efforts of the federal government, because all the citizens are in their states anyway. So now it is incumbent on the state governors, to be as large-hearted, to be as patriotic, to be as committed, to be as disciplined as possible. This is not one set of palliatives, that should suffer the fate of palliatives that were distributed during the COVID era, where we are now beginning to see warehouses that were locked up. No, the times are different. Nigerians will not take for granted anyone who shortchanges them in this whole process. And that is why I said President Tinubu must demonstrate his non-capacity, to do things very, very differently, including cutting down the cost of governance and leading by example.
Indeed.
So state government must key into this policy with a view to enhancing, the welfare of the people and ensuring that these palliatives and these measures that have been put out by government, reaches the poorest of the poor and the mass of the people.
Indeed.
Additionally, much as I agree that government need to do this as a form of social security, in the interim, it is not a long-lasting measure that will give the people, the succor that is actually needed. I believe that government must invest in our infrastructures, particularly in the petroleum sector, so that we can locally refine our products. And at the same time, invest in policies that can ease that can enhance the ease of doing business. Very important, the ease of doing business. It is good enough now that we are talking of the CNG, in order to get people to convert their vehicles to be using both gas and fuel. At least that will give some succor. It is a very important and innovative way, to help the people.
Okay.
But even small and medium-scale business owners are going under because the cost of operations are also getting very, very high and unbearable. And before you know it, businesses will start closing down, and then famine and hunger will be the order of the day.
Okay.
So the president
in relation to sorry, sir. In relation to the gentleman who called from home, speaking about palliatives, what the states, I think that was Benga in Abuja, that the states too must be seen to be up and doing. I think Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, he was the guy who announced yesterday, following the National Executive Council meeting, that the National Emergency Management Agency has been directed to release grains, nationwide to the people to further bring down the prices of foods. I just wanted to put that in there. It might bear some of your commentary. But in the meantime, Austin in Benin. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
And good morning to one of our distinguished leaders from Edo State, Dr. Sam Age.
Thank you.
My take on this is, my position to the issue is that, we should put our refineries in order before government removes subsidy. I even did a write-up to that effect, because with my experience working with the refineries in Nigeria, I know that the maintenance of the refineries is not a rocket science. As a matter of fact, if we are serious and we want to put all our refineries in order in 1 year, it is possible. In that my report, I mentioned names as MDs and executive directors of NNPC that the government can engage to provide what looks like what we can call consultancy services, and they will be able to advise the government, and they will be able to help the government to put our refineries in order. However, now that the subsidy has been removed,
exactly,
which is okay, it has been removed. So what is the way forward? Now we are beginning to see that our revenue has gone up. So we should now hold our governors and our local government chairmen. In fact, we should go on our knees and beg our governors and our local government chairmen. Let them put palliative in place. For instance, the Borno State government has set the ball rolling. He has rolled out buses free. He has even made buses available for farmers to go to work and come back. So I want the other governors to follow his footsteps. Other governors, Ogun, Rivers, and even Lagos, they are follow suit. So if they are able to do that, it will help. But the truth is that people are actually not happy. But I want to appeal to Nigerians to be patient with the government.
Indeed.
This is the right way to go, so that we won't continue to lose 400 billion naira every month to subsidy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling in, Austin. And that reminds me that I think it was yesterday I heard the report that the governors had had a meeting with the vice president, and it was after that meeting that the governor of Bauchi State had, announced that it had been decided. Directives have been issued for, strategically stored grains to be released. Dr. Sage, as you've been saying, and, as we just heard from Austin there, there would have been a way that all sorts of people are, saying it should have been done. But I think it was Ada, or was it or was it Reverend, Dominic, who had said that, look, the moment you begin to talk about this thing, trying to look for a quote-unquote logical approach, you might never, ever be able to do it. So perhaps to what to some look like a perfunctory way in which we heard that the subsidy was no more, was gone, even though we had known from during the campaign that komi de komi, subsidy will go. It still, has been something of a shock to our system. But it's not an insurmountable shock, because the gentleman just said, that is Austin just said, it's the way to go. And I think that's what you've been saying, Dr. Sagie, as well.
Yes, yes. Austin captures the entire essence. The truth of the matter is that, like I said, no nation can develop without going through some innovations and, of course, reforms. And that is the stage we are. And in this situation we have found ourselves, it's not a matter for Mr. President alone. And I am happy that the governors have come together. They must not be seen to just be talking. They must be seen as well to be doing the job and doing it patriotically and sincerely without unnecessary political discriminations against people, regardless of the parties people belong. Because the mass of the people are not politicians. The percentage of politicians in this country is quite infinitesimal compared to the general population of our country.
Let me ask you, let me ask you, Dr. Sage.
The entire leadership.
Let me ask you, Dr. Sage. Somebody brought it up, but it's an idea we had pursued on the program, days in past days. This whole question about reducing the size and the expense of governance in the country. This, when you look at it, we look like a very affluent nation. You see, you're very, not excluded. Honorable representative, past, distinguished senators, excellencies, their governors, chairmen of this and that, and it's all these motorcades. They clearly are costing something. So when people have commented on government and governance doesn't show that we are in a tight sort of a space. Give me briefly your response to that. That we live we have an ostentatious kind of government.
Yes, you are very correct. I did not exempt myself. I had the privilege of serving in the National Assembly, and I can tell you for free that it is true that public officer lives in opulence. There's no denying that fact, and I'm not saying it because I'm no longer there. Because I say it because the objective conditions of our nation are now it's now imperative for us to do things differently. If it was done in the past, we can repent. After all, the Bible says once you repent of your sins, the Lord is just and faithful to forgive us. Now, the point I make is that President Tinubu must reconfigure the way we run government. Of course, government and governance is a very expensive venture to run. That is the truth of the matter. Government, the kind of government we practice is a very expensive one. But conscious efforts must be made at this point in time. Not only for the mass of the people to have a perception of leadership, that caters for their interests. But it is also important for us to be able, to deal with the teething problems of economic challenges that is besetting our nation. The truth of the matter is that it is the poverty that is prevalent in the society that is making those in public offices live large so that they will be able to, out of their burdens that they have, be able to share to the poor people that they represent. That is the truth of the matter.
Okay.
The day you are elected, the same day, you start getting account numbers for the health challenges of constituents, for marriages, for burials, for funerals, and all that kind of thing. And if you don't do them, your re-election is not possible.
Okay,
so,
let me. I'm sorry. Let me squeeze in Ibrahim, who has called in from Kaduna. Ibrahim, you're our last caller. Good morning. And okay, I'm sorry. We can't even take any other caller from that. Honorable Dr. Samson Osage, I guess you can continue. As you are saying that some things now have to be done differently.
Exactly.
This frugality now has to be the frugality that this is bringing to us, the ordinary people. I guess it would be amiss for government to continue in the kind of opulence that Nigerians have been used to seeing them. You see 50-car motorcades and that kind of a thing. I mean, one is not taking anything from government. The government is government. But as I said, we do look like one of the richest countries in the world when government is in motion in Nigeria.
That is correct. And I tell you the consequences of our opulent posture as a nation. When other countries see Nigeria as a very wealthy nation, and the perception is true, what they see our countrymen and women, particularly in leadership positions, do when they travel outside the country. I give you a critical example, a typical example. Do you know that the flight from Cotonou here, Benin Republic, to London is like 4 times lower than the price from Lagos to London?
That's right.
That is the reality at the moment.
Yeah, very right.
The reason that is happening is that, these countries see us as a rich country. So the citizens can pay.
In fact, Nigerians, sorry sir,
exactly.
Nigerians
the
are beginning to see that
pay
if you want to come home, don't come home directly.
Go
through Cotonou and you'll be paying half. And you take a 4-hour drive into the country.
We must cut down, drastically. Our population is above 2 million people, 200 million people now. Are we even thinking of what will happen to us when our population hits 500 million of people?
Well, we're going to have to leave it there, Dr. Sage.
So we must.
I thank you very much, Dr. Sage. Thank you very much for the time you spent with us this morning. We're going to have to leave it there. No, it's not an insurmountable situation that we're in. It is hurting for the moment, but it will get better. But government advocacy is indispensable. People must be explained to what exactly is going on, and the way in which the sacrifice we are making, the way in which it is being used alternatively. So that's our program today. Please join us on Monday for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
Is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Do you spend the night trying to get comfortable? Your knees rub bone on bone. Your back and hips ache. You wake up in pain? Not anymore. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the Contour Legacy Pillow, the patented, ergonomically designed tapered leg pillow that naturally fits the contours of your legs, knees, and thighs to help align your spine and alleviate pain. Watch, when you sleep on your side, your leg falls forward, twisting your pelvis and lower back, putting pressure on your spine, hip, and sciatic. But the Contour Legacy Pillow cushions your knees and cradles your legs, relieving stress on joints while restoring your lower back alignment. Sleeping on your side, your leg comes over and puts you out of alignment, causing lower back pain, hip pain, even knee pain. By using the Contour Legacy Pillow, it restores the natural alignment of the spine, helping to alleviate pain and pressure, leading to much more restful sleep. Old-fashioned leg pillows are bulky, but the anatomical design of the Legacy Pillow fits perfectly the shape of your body the way nature intended. You can even use 2 together for full leg alignment.
Legacy Pillow is exclusively ventilated, so it always stays cool and dry. With top crescent design, it cuddles up to you perfectly and easily moves with you. Ordinary pillows go flat, but the Legacy Pillow is made up of soft memory foam, so it never loses its shape and the cover is machine washable. The Contour Legacy Pillow is now available in Nigeria, exclusively from ShopX TV. You could be paying up to 500,000 naira for an orthopedic bed that doesn't properly support your spine. But call the number on your screen now and get 2 Legacy leg pillows for just 69,900 naira. And get relief from back and hip issues. But wait! If you call now, we'll upgrade you to the Contour Better Sleep Collection. The collection comes with 2 Contour Legacy leg pillows and 2 Contour Cool Gel head pillows at no extra charge. The Contour Cool Gel head pillows' soothing orthopedic support will cradle your head and neck for full alignment, while keeping you cool all through the night for the best sleep of your life. Incredible! That's 2 Contour Legacy pillows and 2 Cool Gel head pillows for just 69,900 naira. And that's not all. Place your order now and we'll also deliver your Contour Better Sleep collection with no shipping charge. But hurry! This is an exclusive ShopX TV offer and only available for a limited period. So, call now while stock lasts. Your rest is your wealth.
The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything.
If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands, a familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Hello there, thanks for joining us on TVC Midday News. I am Mike Okwache. We begin in Kaduna, where President Bola Tinubu has arrived the Armed Forces Command and Staff College in Jaji, where he is the special guest of honor at the graduation ceremony of Senior Course 25 of the course. 291 senior military officers are set to graduate, and among them are 15 senior officers from allied countries, while 12 of the graduating students are from various ministries, departments, and agencies. The Armed Forces Command and Staff College is a joint service institution established to train tactical and operational level officers. Other special guests at the event include the Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Uba Sani, the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, and the service chiefs. The National Economic Council has resolved to consider negotiating a new minimum wage for workers. The Economic Council also agreed on interventions to be introduced to cushion the impact of fuel subsidy removal. With this new development, state governments will play a significant role to ensure the poor and vulnerable in the society benefit from the palliative measures. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde reports.
Finally, there is a plan on how the federal government intends to cushion the immediate hardship caused by the removal of subsidy on petroleum products. But this time, the sub-nationals are expected to step up to the plate and drive the interventions that will give succor to the poor and vulnerable. At the end of the 6-hour-long National Economic Council meeting, the governors reeled out the immediate, medium and long-term intervention plans.
Each state should begin to plan towards implementing a cash transfer program that will be based on their social register of the states. We also talked about
at the National Economic Council, they directed the release of foodstuff from the National Grain Reserve to poor households already groaning from the spike in food prices.
NEMA, with the CBN, and indeed with the Ministry of Agric. And we have some buffer stock that is already there with NEMA, and the Council has directed the states will be allocated immediately substantial portion of food items, grains and so on and so forth for distribution so that the prices of foodstuff will come down.
But on the brighter side, the National Economic Council was pleased with the news of an increase in revenue generated by the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
It was nice to know that they are ahead of their target for half year, and we expect that before or by the time the year ends, they would exceed. He also gave us some idea of what next year should be like.
Now the three tiers of government will share the burden to cushion the impact of fuel subsidy removal. They must also work in time and establish a social register that is truly reflective of the poor and vulnerable. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
To the courts now, former Minister of Aviation Stella Odua has pleaded not guilty to a 25-count charge of money laundering. Mr. Odua was arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission before the Federal High Court in Abuja. After taking plea, Justice Inyang-Ekwo ordered that the Attorney General take over the matter and that the EFCC should transfer the case file to the AGF in 2 weeks. While upholding the existing administrative bail conditions granted her by the EFCC, the court ordered that the terms of conditions also be made available to the AGF. The court adjourned to 17th of October for trial. And talking security, now the military has defended its burning of the MT Tura vessel with 150,000 metric tons of stolen crude oil. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, said that the troops were carrying out legitimate orders by setting it ablaze. He also gave details on how troops intercepted a truckload of cannabis. Sifon Essien has more on this.
A forum that provides the military authorities the opportunity to provide updates on operations across the various theaters. It's the first time Major General Edward Buba will be talking to journalists since he assumed the role of Director of Defense Media Operations.
Indeed, on the 15th of July, troops of Operation Awase during stop and search operation along road Ajilete, Owode, in Yewa South local government area of Ogun State, intercepted and arrested a truck with 2 occupants, one a Ghanaian, the other a Nigerian. A search on the truck led to the discovery of 702 cartons of 12 caliber Resta cartridges, each carton containing 25 cartridges. Also arrested were 250 packets containing 10 cartridges of black pellets.
Wow.
And then
he defended the burning of a large vessel laden with stolen crude oil by troops, saying they were carrying out legitimate orders.
Is that in the military, we work with instructions. Whatever instruction we get, we'll operate with it. If it is reviewed, we will operate with it. We don't make the laws. We work with the laws that are given to us.
While troops succeeded in busting drug trafficking rings and intercepting ammunition meant for separatist groups, the new methods adopted by criminal gangs continue to throw up more challenges. Sifon Essien, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's turn our attention to the National Assembly, where members of the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on International Boundary Dispute between Nigeria and Cameroon are engaged at the potential loss of two communities of about 10,000 hectares of land and its people to Cameroon. At the opening of an investigative hearing, the legislators called on the government to ensure Nigeria does not cede affected communities after the Bakassi loss years ago. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
In June 2006, Nigeria signed the Green Tree Agreement, marking the formal transfer of Bakassi Peninsula in Cross River State to Cameroon. 17 years down the line, Nigeria is on the verge of losing Danare and Biajua communities in the same state to Cameroon. This is on account of the failure of the Technical Committee of the Cameroon-Nigeria Mixed Commission to locate Pillar 113A.
Introduce yourself and the community you represent.
The task before this ad hoc committee is to investigate and assess the potential land encroachment by the Cameroonian government.
If we're not careful, we may have Nigerian citizens becoming stateless. So it's very important that whatever we do, we do it the right way. Also knowing that there are human rights issues involved.
The National Boundary Commission says government is doing its best to avert a repeat of the Bakassi experience. Its Director General is confident that political and diplomatic means will be used to resolve the impasse.
It's not as if now we want to fight to say, we must take wherever our people are. We have seen boundaries cutting across communities. Part of it will be in another country, another part in another country.
The legislators say they are taken aback by the disappearance of Pillar 113A as representatives of the communities point accusing fingers at the government.
Biajua is itself a Commonwealth grave site for the regiment of the Second World War. Nigeria. What Cameroon was looking for in Bakassi was oil. What they are looking for here is the forest.
For certain, maybe political reasons or certain interests, the Nigerian government wanted to forcefully cede that part to Cameroon because they felt that we are from the minority.
How many boundaries are straight lines? If, for whatever reason, mistakes have been made, we should be gracious enough to admit that we have made a mistake.
It's clear from your presentation that the Cameroonians are not at this time pushing. One wonders what the Nigerians are excited about to drive these people away from us.
The ad hoc committee says it will embark on a fact-finding visit to the affected communities before putting together its report for the consideration of the House in due course. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
Here in Lagos, the Ministry of Works and Housing has announced a temporary closure of the Alaka Kosteni Gomu section of the Eko Bridge for another 40 days from Sunday. In a statement signed by the Federal Controller of Works, Olukorede Kesha, the closure is as a result of the damage noticed on some of the bridge members which needed to be urgently worked upon. The statement also stated that any further delay in the repairs and replacement of some of these bridge members could undermine the integrity and structural stability of the entire bridge. Mr. Kesha said that the closure is to allow the contractor to carry out the necessary repairs with the aim of restoring the integrity of the bridge during the stipulated time frame. The service lane leading to Yori will be available along with some alternative routes provided for motorists plying the route from Western Avenue and its environs. Are you watching TVC Midday News? We'll bring you more reports after this break. Stay with us.
In the month of July, on the 2nd of July, the global community celebrates World Sport Journalists Day. The 5th of July is the first anniversary of the Kuje prison attack when some Boko Haram insurgents escaped. The 7th of July marks 25 years since the winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, MK Abiola, died. His death occurred in 1998. 11th of July is World Population Day, while 15th is World Youth Skills Day. On the 17th, attention is turned to World Day for International Justice, while 18th of July is Nelson Mandela Day to honor the former South African leader. 25th of July is the World Diaspora Day, And on the 20th, the World Hepatitis Day is commemorated, as well as the World Nature Conservation Day. On the 29th of July, President Bola Tinubu will mark 2 months in office. And the 30th of July is World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. Brace up and tune in to TVC News for in-depth analysis and reports. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Politics is defined as getting what, where, when, and how. But in the mix, many things come to play to shape the political fortune of any country.
Honorable Minister, sir, you misinform the public.
From the political actors to the electorate, campaign to voting, from debates to policy decisions, big events happen to engage us in constant conversation.
That's what we're looking for. Not some people who are talking about ethnicity. No.
Who is on your mind?
Don't worry.
Join me every day on Politics Tonight, where we dissect issues that shape our political destiny. Politics Tonight, weekdays on TVC News.
Thanks for staying with us on the news. Now to health matters now. The Kaduna State government has alerted citizens in the state of the outbreak of diphtheria in Kafanchan, Jama'a local government area. This was contained in a statement released by the press secretary to the Kaduna State Governor, Muhammad Lawal. Now, Governor Uba Sani directed the Ministry of Health to send an emergency team to investigate the cases and implement immediate measures. Medical authorities have moved affected individuals to hospitals, including active case searches, contact tracing, and community sensitization. TVC News gathered that the number of children in the isolation ward has significantly increased from 5 to 17 in one day, indicating a rapid spread of the outbreak. Residents have been advised to take preventive measures and report any suspected cases. And I have joining me now the medical director of Sir Patrick Ibrahim Yakowa Memorial Hospital, Kafanchan, Dr. Isaac Nathaniel. Dr. Nathaniel, it's good to have you join me right now. It's quite heartbreaking to hear of the increase in the level of the infection of diphtheria amongst children. Now, can you make us understand how critical this is and what's really on ground there where you are?
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. We were alerted of an epidemic of respiratory tract infection in Kafanchan community, in which most of the victims were children between the age of 2 and 16. And we're told that most of them could not eat. A significant proportion of them present with symptoms such as headache, fever, generalized body pains, weakness, and failure to be able to eat. And there were also rumors that there were deaths recorded, but we've not had any death in hospital. So we sent a fact-finding mission involving medical personnel, medical doctors, and laboratory scientists to go and find out what the trouble was. And they discovered that it was actually a respiratory tract infection that is plaguing the children. So a significant proportion of them have been moved to the hospital with ambulances, and they are receiving treatment.
All right, let's start from the issue of level of awareness. There is the notion that people are not very aware of the preventive measures against diphtheria, or even what the disease is in the first instance. Can you share that with us? How knowledgeable are the people at this time?
Yes, there is no significant awareness, but we are trying to sensitize the community and the surrounding communities on the need to be careful. on the need to use face masks since it's a respiratory tract infection. And also, they should be careful on touching things carelessly. The need to wash their hands. Basically, all the preventive strategies for COVID-19 is part of what we are encouraging among the community, and we're not having challenge. Then also the issue of distancing among they shouldn't come too close to children who are very, very sick, because we believe that it may be part of the pathway through which those infections occur. So we've simplified them significantly.
All right. What are the visible symptoms of this diphtheria for people to get to know that when you see this, this could likely be an indication that it could be diphtheria?
Actually, the laboratory diagnosis is yet to come out. We've not received the result yet. We're still waiting. So we don't know if it is diphtheria or a viral illness. Samples have been collected and sent. Though the common symptoms that the patients present with include fever, headache, generalized body pains, swelling of the neck, difficult swallowing. Those are the common symptoms that the patients present with.
All right, could you share with us, because following this outbreak that we are receiving, the report, what is the response of the state government so far to this?
The response has been fantastic. Immediately, I was notified within hours, within an hour or so, I made arrangements for the staffs in my hospital to go to the community, identify those who are infected, and we're able to get samples from them. Then we notified the epidemiologic units in the state capital of the problem we are having. And in less than 24 hours, they sent a team down to our hospital to assist us. So by virtue of all the we've been able to contain the problem on ground, and we've not been overwhelmed currently.
Okay. Dr. Isaac Nathaniel, Medical Director of Sir Patrick Ibrahim Yakowa Memorial Hospital in Kafanchan. Thank you very much for speaking to us from Kaduna State.
Thank you so much.
Great. Moving ahead now, poultry farmers have appealed to the federal government to urgently intervene in the dwindling fortunes and danger confronting the agri sector to avert its imminent collapse. This was one of the demands made by a cross-section of poultry farmers under the aegis of the Poultry Association of Nigeria at a media briefing in Ibadan. Olaide Oyewole has more.
According to reports, the agri sector has been contributing an average of 24% to the national GDP since 2018, providing job opportunities for Nigerians across its value chain. In 2019, the Central Bank of Nigeria categorized the poultry subsector as the most commercialized agri sector, with a net worth of 1.6 trillion, which was about 25% of the sector's contribution to the GDP. However, it appears that the sector can no longer sustain this momentum, as stakeholders in the poultry industry have expressed their concern about the current challenges that are pushing the industry towards imminent collapse. They identified unavailability of maize as a major threat to the survival of their birds.
Some of these challenges include and not limited to the following: high cost of feed, caused partly by raw material shortage, given the seasonal of the major raw materials inputs, namely maize, that form about 60% requirement, and soybean meal, among others.
They are also urging the government to declare a state of emergency on maize by permitting its importation, as well as addressing other pertinent issues such as access to loans, among other challenges bedeviling the industry.
That state emergency be declared on maize and soya production through the implementation of farm clearing, seed and fertilizer supply. Grain should be planted all year round, making it adequate, making adequate use of irrigation and of our various river basins. The Western government, they feed the, what is it called now? IDPs and correctional centers. They feed them every day. Why can't they buy eggs and use it in feeding them? We will not even have enough egg to sell. Look at all the emails all over the country.
The stakeholders expressed belief that addressing these bottlenecks will lead to a reduction in the existing high prices of the commodity, thereby providing immediate relief to the struggling sector. Oladio Yewole, TVC News, Ibadan.
And to some entertainment now, practitioners in the nation's film industry are advocating constant promotion of Nigeria's cultural heritage through movies. This discussion came to the fore as Nollywood actor Adekola Odunlade premiered his new movie called Orisha in Lagos. TVC News correspondent Theophilus Elama was there.
It's a celebration of the cultural heritage of the Yoruba race expressed in diverse ways. This expression, seen in the outfits, food and other forms, is born out of the need to promote the nation's cultural heritage. And what better way to do that than to showcase it in our movies?
The thing is, we can't do the Batman. It's not indigenous to us. We can't do Batman, we can't do Spider-Man. That's not indigenous to us. What's indigenous to us is what we grew up with. Our fathers, Oshun, Ogun, and all of the gods, the deities that were. And that's exactly what played out in this film.
We begin to see more and more of this. This is just the beginning for the Yoruba movie industry. People out there actually want to see indigenous films. They want to see movies shot in, local languages. And I must tell you, Yoruba has it.
Nollywood actor Odunlade Adekola is premiering his movie Orisha, which is born out of the need to ensure the nation's cultural heritage is passed on to generations.
It's just it's a belief, that is woven with culture. So I wouldn't say, let us sideline this because we say it is diabolic. It's our culture. Embrace the culture, celebrate the culture, sell the culture. Because at the end of the day, every day, because we all travel around the world, we see many cultures, we are embracing other cultures and we are forgetting our culture. And culture comes to a very high level of identity.
It is a movie that culturally based is. It promotes the tradition and culture of the people. And since that is what is trending now, I expect people to gain a lot from it.
Everything that we can see inspired me to Orisha movie. Everything, all our culture, yeah.
Practitioners here believe promoting our culture in movies will ensure it doesn't go into extinction. They also posit that going this route will ensure generations to come have content they can use to learn their culture. Theophilus Elama, TVC News, Lagos.
An amazing one there. And with that, we come to the end of the stories at this time. Stay tuned for more updates at top of the hour with my colleague Precious Amayo. I leave you with the weather forecast for the rest of the day. I am Mike Okwache. Bye now.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
What is better than your view on weekdays? Your view on the weekend. Something special, something more. We have an extra dose of premium television experience. Your Saturday is about to get upgraded with more engagement, information, and special moments.
Let me speak Pidgin. English is a problem. Don't see your parents finish.
Yes.
I don't know another English. Do you
and it's not by beating.
Finish. Join us from Saturday, the 15th of April, 2023 at 9 a.m. for the weekend edition of Your View. Join the intelligent, dynamic, inspiring, and fearless ladies of Your View as they have the difficult conversation,
the thuggery and intimidation,
breaking down barriers and defining the narrative. Save the date as we count down to the weekend edition of the most exciting talk show on Nigerian television.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the program NOUN Update, where we spotlight activities of the National Open University of Nigeria. I am Lulu Bankom. On the program today, our focus is on Sevicom, and here we have the Deputy Registrar who is in charge of Sevicom here in the National Open University of Nigeria headquarters, and she is Mrs. Eunice Ricky. I must thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, before we bring you that interview with Mrs. Eunice Ricky, let's go on a commercial break, and when we come back, the interview will start.
The National Open University of Nigeria gives its students access to world-class education in undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Our courses are open to all eligible candidates, including secondary school leavers, private and public sector workers.
All programs are accredited by NUC and relevant professional bodies.
We make education easy, accessible, affordable and reliable with our high-class facilities to aid your studies. We are spread across the 36 states of Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory, so you can study with us anywhere and at your pace. We have a high entrepreneurial and employability skills with our degrees, and it is recognized in any university across the world. At National Open University of Nigeria, we will support you every step of the way with one goal in mind: success. Take a step today, earn your degree with us. For further information, log on to www.nou.edu.ng. Now, university education without barriers.
Well, the Open University is an innovation, and I commend them for doing a good job. I love the fact that when they came on board, they were faced with a lot of controversies, a lot of problems from conventional universities that they almost went under. And the fact that they have remained is because of ICT. From admission stage, you go through ICT. That's innovation. I think most other universities in Nigeria learned to do digital work from the Open University because they started it. You had to access your payment portal online. You pay for your courses online. You do that without interfacing with anybody. You even get your admission
admission letter, print it online. That's innovation. Teaching and learning, they have not gotten a lot of it. They can improve in that area, but I believe that for Nigerian universities, I will give the Open University a pass mark. I'll put them first before others. And that doesn't mean that they cannot outdo themselves. There's more to be done, but they are doing well. I must commend them.
COVID-19 lockdown helped in a way to sell the idea of ODL, not only for the Open University, but for other institutions, because as you might have found out, a lot of universities decided to either introduce distance learning or enhance the one that they already had in place, the one that they did not attach much importance to it. But eventually, because of this thing, they woke up and discovered that it was something that they could use to continue to teach their students and admit new ones. So actually, we had more knowledge. And that knowledge led to more admission into the university because of the potential that people saw in distance learning.
The National Open University of Nigeria gives its students access to world-class education in undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Our courses are open to all eligible candidates, including secondary school leavers, private and public sector workers.
All programs are accredited by NUC and relevant professional bodies.
We make education easy, accessible, affordable and reliable with our high-class facilities to aid your studies. We are spread across the 36 states of Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory, so you can study with us anywhere and at your pace. We have a high entrepreneurial and employability skills with our degrees, and it is recognized in any university across the world. At National Open University of Nigeria, we will support you every step of the way with one goal in mind: success. Take a step today. Earn your degree with us. For further information, log on to www.nou.edu.ng. Now, university education without barriers.
Welcome back. It's now time for our interview with Mrs. Eunice Ricky, who is the head of Servicom here at the National Open University of Nigeria's headquarters. I must thank you again for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now you are the head of Servicom here at the Open University. Can you give us an idea what your department does for the Open University?
Thank you. Basically, the Servicom unit of the National Open University of Nigeria is the customer service hub of the university, and so we're the first port of call for students. Clients are 75% are students, and then we have staff as well. And so what we do is take inquiries, complaints from students ranging from missing results, TMAs, checking on their graduation status, issuance of transcripts. All these inquiries come to us via an email address that we have on our website. Once they come to us, we print them out, send them, check the inquiries, and then send them out to the relevant departments, faculty, wherever the inquiry is to go to. We try to ensure that we answer all inquiries within a 3 working day limit, depending on the nature of the inquiry. Servicom is, as you may know, a federal government initiative it started out with the public sector, but as it is now, even in the private sector, you have Servicom units. And it's basically to ensure that all Nigerians have the right to be served right. So it's a service compact with Nigerians. And I can honestly say that it has improved services within the public sector, including the National Open University of Nigeria. At a point, there were issues where students were not able, our clients were not able to get responses in good time. But with the Servicom unit, that has changed. We're able to address issues for students directly link them with their faculties, with their HODs, their deans, to ensure that whatever issue they have, they're able to get it sorted to enable them move forward. I.e., maybe an issue with maybe somebody on at 200 level now, and there's a bottleneck, probably some results or whatever, and it's not allowing a person to move forward. We step in, even if it means us going, physically to the deans to find out, or to faculties, units. We do that to ensure that our students are satisfied, and we have been able to achieve that, successfully.
Yeah, I was going to ask how effective that has been, because we still have instances where during the course of running this program, people still call to say, oh, I have graduated so and so period, I've not been able to get my result, I have done this, I have missing result, all of those issues the people still talk about. Is it that they are not aware of your presence here in the Open University? Or, okay, let's say maybe not much awareness is done for them to know that there's a place that they can actually go to?
In 2017, initially we had students walking in and bringing in complaints. And we sat down as a team, and I basically looked at it, and I saw that we were having complaints from students, but a large number of them would come in, leave without really achieving much. And most of the time, I would conveniently say that 90% of the complaints cannot be dealt with immediately. So we would need to go out to the different faculties, and we thought there must be a better way of doing this. And that's how we, with the help of management, we linked up with the ICT department, and we decided that, in fact, we need to be as ITC compliant as possible, and this is one of the ways. And so we decided to ask for it was basically a pilot program. We just said we want a presence on our website, and all we just did was put Servicom there, say you could contact Servicom with complaints and reach out to us. And within 1 week, from about 15-20 cases in a week, we were having like 100. And so the awareness is now there, much more than it was. And we're still growing. One of our plans at the moment is to have a dedicated Servicom, non-Servicom website.
Okay.
And that will even increase awareness even the more. Thankfully, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Femi Peters, has agreed that we should think about having an annual Servicom Day.
Okay.
And this again will raise more awareness, and also let the department's offices, not just here, you may be aware that we have study centers across the country, and it's to bring that awareness, let them know what we're here for, what our function is. And at the moment, even across study centers, if there are issues, all they have to do is send the problem through on our email, and we address it.
Yeah, I was also going to come to that. I was going to find out, because most times when they have these challenges, they usually will run to their study centers. I was wanting to know if you have people they can get in touch with as soon as they get to those study centers.
Yes, definitely. The study centers are kind of a reflection of what you see here at the headquarters. So we have study center directors. They are representing the Vice Chancellor. We also have admin staff, senior admin staff there from the registry, who can address issues for students. And then we have a Servicom representative at every study center. So when, a lot of the times, Servicom is kind of a last resort, more or less, Because what will happen is you're expected to speak to your faculty, speak to your dean, speak to your study center director, and if the issue is such that you're not able to, they're not able to resolve for you, you come to Servicom. Okay. But that doesn't stop you from coming to Servicom in the first place. But we would ask you, have you tried to talk to your HOD? Have you been to your faculty? And we have a lot of areas, a lot of offices where issues are solved, yes.
Okay. Now, usually when you go to some government agencies, the bottlenecks are there. You want to make a complaint, you want to make an inquiry, like the frustrations and all of that. And you are a service delivery kind of your operations, like you interact with this. How do you ensure that those kind of things don't happen? Because beside the email that you talked about now, so people may want to, like, I'm not interested in the email, can let me go and see them face to face. How do you ensure that when people come here, they are able to at least get people to listen to them?
Thank you. Well, training.
Okay.
All our staff, particularly those here in Servicom, are all trained, giving customer service training. We do all we can. We strive, that's one of the things we really, really strive to achieve, is to ensure that every customer, every student that comes to our office leaves here satisfied, leaves here hopeful, leaves our office knowing that we will do something about the problem. And we do everything to ensure that it's a positive outcome, whereby there are bottlenecks from the faculty or anything like that. We step in to assure them that there's a way forward.
Okay, so now how effective has this been, like, in terms of promoting the Open University, for instance? Because like I said, when people go to organizations and they get those kind of complaints, they tend to, like, those people, the attitude is not good. But with what you have said now, your staff, they've been trained and all of that. How is that helping to reposition the National Open University?
I think it's been very effective. You'll agree with me that word of mouth can be very, very strong when it comes to selling organization or business. So if the students, if the clients are not treated nicely, you will definitely hear it out there. We know that we have competition out there, be it from conventional universities, or even other, because in conventional universities now you have people running the ODL mode, but we're the pioneer institution, and our students will tell you that we do everything in our power to ensure that, you know, the education is smooth. Yes. We have learner support services unit. So when they have any issues, we also have them with students, counselors, and all our other staff as well.
Okay. So now your activities, are they only for the students?
No. Even though 85% of our clients are students, we're also open to staff as well. And it could be anything to do with services within, infrastructure. Sometimes if water has been running in a part of the university for some time, you know, they come to us and say, no water, and we need you to step in. And so we work with
Okay, I understand also that the Open University does not have anything to do with a union like ASU kind of thing. So are you saying you serve as ASU for the Open University?
No, I wouldn't
serve as a union for the staff of Open University.
I wouldn't use the word union.
Okay,
but
mouthpiece.
Yes, but we're there to take care of everybody, to ensure that things run smoothly. We have, I mean, when most of the time when you talk about unions and it's to do with grievances that they have, we have a system, a functional system within the university, within the registry and management that addresses issues like that. So, but I wouldn't use the word union.
Yes, I understand. But at the end of the day, you are able to address issues coming from your staff.
Yes.
Now, you talked about learner support services and all of those ICT units and all. Don't you think that some of these roles that you play are like maybe overlapping, or you do the same thing, the other people they do the same thing and all of that?
To a certain degree, there are overlaps sometimes, but the thing is, it's like there has to be that synergy, and there has to people specialize in different aspects of customer service within the university. So we even have a VICC unit, which is a visitors unit. So people who walk in and just for inquiry would go straight there. We're all under the Vice Chancellor's office. And then you have, like I mentioned before, learner support services to address the academic aspect. Not because you could have a student who, for some reason, wants to stop or defer studies, maybe for the second year, maybe financial issues, maybe health issues. This is where you have our student counselors step in, and that's they're housed within the learner support services unit.
Okay, now you talked about having a designated email where students can actually forward their complaints and all of that. Can we have an idea of what it looks like, so that those students who are not aware that there is actually an email where they can send in their complaints can actually reach?
Our email address, dedicated email address, is servicom@nou.edu.ng for Nigeria. And rest assured that you will be responded to within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours. Now, like you have said within 24 hours, I wanted to find out like how the feedback actually look like, because you respond within that time frame that you have said.
We will at least acknowledge within 24 hours, but it will take us anything up to 5 working days, 3 to 5 working days to give feedback.
Okay. Yes. So, but do they get back to say, oh, this thing that you did for us, we have been able to see the result and all of that, or maybe just once you give the feedback, sometimes it's not that that is the end of that problem. It may continue. So how do you interact or like follow up on an issue that is beyond maybe these 5 days that you talk about?
Okay. So what this is, the emails are sent to the
address.
Yes, the relevant departments, faculties, and whatever. We get feedback from them. So somebody is asking for his transcript. That goes to the academic registry. We wait for feedback within 3 to 5 working days. If it comes through, we send the information to the students. But we're even improving on that, such that the academic registry responds directly to the student and copies Servicom in on it, so we know it's been solved. A situation where the problem cannot be resolved immediately or at that given time, it continues, but the students knows to continue the conversation with the faculty. Yes.
So as we prepare to round up now, there are people actually who are still having doubts about the Open University, and you have been here and you know so much about the Open University and you interact with the students that you meet. And then the issue of parents also thinking that, okay, it's just an online kind of thing. I would like you to put a word for those kind of people that the Open University is not what they think.
The Open University and our mode of delivery, open and distance learning, is here to stay. We are for real, authentic, and have always been. parents should not have any fear about how real this is. Our courses are accredited. We are also under the umbrella of the NUC, so we're regulated by the NUC, just like any other university, conventional university in Nigeria. The same body regulates the National Open University of Nigeria. And don't forget about the pandemic. Yeah. It's not over. And what has it done for us?
Open up more.
Everything is almost becoming virtual. So it's the way it's the way forward. That's what is trending now internationally, in Nigeria, wherever. So we have our motto is work and learn, even though we now have a lot of youngsters. Yeah. But the thing is, with all that is happening now, you can live your life fully, work, learn. And the National Open University of Nigeria is the place to be to do that.
You heard from the head of Servicom here in the National Open University of Nigeria headquarters. She has said they will keep doing the best that they know how to do. And for students who are not aware that a department like this exists now, you know that Servicom is here to serve you. Well, we have had on the program Mrs. Eunice Enrique, who is the Deputy Registrar and also the head of Servicom here in the Open University's headquarters. I must thank you, Ma, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much, Lulu.
So that's how much time we have on the program this week. Don't forget to join us again next week for another edition of the program. I am Lulu. Bye for now and enjoy the rest of your day.
The National Open University of Nigeria gives its students access to world-class education in undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Our courses are open to all eligible candidates, including secondary school leavers, private and public sector workers.
All programs are accredited by NUC and relevant professional bodies.
We make education easy, accessible, affordable and reliable with our high-class facilities to aid your studies. We are spread across the 36 states of Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory, so you can study with us anywhere and at your pace. We have a high entrepreneurial and employability skills with our degrees, and it is recognized in any university across the world. At National Open University of Nigeria, we will support you every step of the way with one goal in mind: success. Take a step today, earn your degree with us. For further information, log on to www.nou.edu.ng. Now, university education without barriers.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Maya Angelou was a civil rights activist, poet, and award-winning author known for her acclaimed 1969 memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and her numerous poetry and essay collections. Angelou was born on April 4, 1928 in St. Louis, Missouri. Angelou had a difficult childhood. Her parents split up when she was very young. Around the 1960s, Angelou lived in Ghana working as an editor and a freelance writer. Angelou also held a position at the University of Ghana for a time before she joined a community of revolutionist returnees exploring Pan-Africanism and became close with human rights activist and black nationalist leader Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. In 1961, Angelou appeared in an off-Broadway production of Jean Genet's The Blacks with James L. Jones, Lou Gossett Jr. and Cicely Tyson, and went on to earn a Tony Award nomination for her role in the play Look Away in 1973 and an Emmy Award nomination for her work on the television miniseries Roots 1977, among other honors. Angela's career has seen numerous accolades, including the Chicago International Film Festival's 1998 Audience Choice Award and a nod from the Acapulco Black Film Festival in 1999 for Down in the Delta. She published 7 autobiographies, 3 books of essays, several books of poetry, and is credited with a list of plays, movies, more than 50 honorary degrees, and television shows spanning over 50 years. She also won 2 NAACP Image Awards in the Outstanding Literary Work non-fiction category for her 2005 cookbook and 2008 Letter to My Daughter. After experiencing health issues for a number of years, Angelo died on May 28, 2014 at her home in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. In May 2021, it was announced that Angela will be one of the first women to be commemorated with a new series of quarters from the U.S. Mint.
Wherever you see destruction, it's because God is absent. There is no destruction in God. So who started killing from Genesis? Satan. Jesus exposed him. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But I am come that you may have life and have it how much? More abundant. I prophesy as your amen is coming like thunder. Whatever is yours, receive it now.
Our planet, our home, threatened by man's activities with fears of mass extinction on the rise. On Green Angle, we examine the issues that affect our environment, seek solutions to put us on track to secure and restore a cleaner and greener world for generations to come. Our top stories: National Economic Council considers negotiating new minimum wage for workers. Former Aviation Minister Stella Odua pleads not guilty to 25-count charge of money laundering. Court orders AGF to take over case. Now to Nigeria, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak suffers 2 election losses as British voters reject Conservative government. In sports, Super Falcons begin 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup with a 0-0 draw with Olympic champions Canada. Thanks for joining us on TVC News at 1. Let's begin in Kaduna, where President Bola Tinubu has emphasized the need for synergy and cooperation among African countries in dealing with contemporary security threats. President Tinubu stated this after his arrival at the graduation ceremony for Senior Course 25 of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji. He reassured the nation and Africa at large of his government's unwavering commitment to ensuring the safety and peace of Nigeria and its neighboring countries. 291 senior military officers are set to graduate, and among them are 15 senior officers from allied countries, while 12 of the graduating students are from various ministries, departments, and agencies. The Armed Forces Command and Staff College is a joint services institution established to train tactical and operational level officers. Other special guests at the event include the Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Obasani, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the service chiefs. Now let's turn attention now to the nation's capital, where the National Economic Council has resolved to consider negotiating a new minimum wage for workers. The Economic Council also agreed on interventions to be introduced to cushion the impact of fuel subsidy removal. With this new development, state governments will play a significant role to ensure the poor and vulnerable in the society benefit from the palliative measures. And TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde reports.
Finally, there is a plan on how the federal government intends to cushion the immediate hardship caused by the removal of subsidy on petroleum products. But this time, the subnationals are expected to step up to the plate and drive the interventions that will give succor to the poor and vulnerable. At the end of the 6-hour-long National Economic Council meeting, the governors reeled out the immediate, medium and long-term intervention plans.
Each state should begin to plan towards implementing a cash transfer program that will be based on their social register of the states. We also talked about ensuring that we paid our public servants outstanding liabilities, whichever way, if it's their pension, if it's their gratuities, if it's their leave bonuses, and so on and so forth.
There is a magnitude to which you pump in money into the system, and then inflation even gets higher. Exchange rate depreciates the more, and the more the exchange rate depreciates, the more there will be pressure for pump price of fuel to also rise. So, Council is fully aware of all this. We're juggling many balls in the air.
The federal government is also responding to all threats to food security and the need to push down rising food prices. At the National Economic Council, they directed the release of foodstuff from the National Grain Reserve to poor households already groaning from the spike in food prices.
NEMA, with the CBN, and indeed with the Ministry of Agric, and we have some buffer stock that is already there with NEMA, and the Council has directed the states will be allocated immediately substantial portion of food items, grains, and so on and so forth for distribution, so that the prices of foodstuff will come down.
But on the brighter side, the National Economic Council was pleased with the news of an increase in revenue generated by the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
It was nice to know that they are ahead of their target for half year, and we expect that before or by the time the year ends, they would exceed. He also gave us some idea of what next year should be like.
Now the three tiers of government will share the burden to cushion the impact of fuel subsidy removal. They must also work in time and establish a social register that is truly reflective of the poor and vulnerable. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's bring in public affairs analyst Dr. Jide Johnson. He joins me on the news for more perspective on this. Good to have you join us.
It's a pleasure to be with you, and good day to our viewers all over the world. Thank you for having me.
So when the federal government talked about the 8,000 naira cash transfer, the worry from Nigerians was that, look, would this end up in the pocket of individuals, considering the controversies that trailed previous palliative measures, especially during the COVID-19. But now that the state governments want to generate their own register for the cash transfer, the worry is whether this will not become a tool to reward political loyalists. And I just want to get your thought on that, the fact that state governments are taking over the cash register.
The experiences people have had in the past with the intention of government to ensure that succor is provided where there are painful decisions that are taken in order to revamp and revive the economy have shown that people do not trust whatever government wants to come out with because of the skepticism and the bad experiences they have in the past. And this particular step now is also susceptible to political implication, in the sense that if we really want to do this, I think we should go by the local government. The government that is closest to the people is the local government. It is easier for us to get the polling units closer to the people when it's time for election. So it shouldn't be difficult for us to get across. So if you can get the ballot across to the people during election, you should be able to get the deliverables of democracy to them through whatever means. And as far as I'm concerned, we have 3 tiers of government: the federal, the state, and the local government. This should be handled by the local government and not the state government. You give it to the people that are closer to the people, then you get it. By law, each local government has a social security board. Under normal circumstances, they should have this social register, because when initially the government said they were going to use the list that was used by the previous administration, that was condemned by even some of the governors that were in the previous administration, that did not raise any objection to that list when the list was initially used, and now raising an objection to it so that they will be given the power to come up with the list. I think the list, if you really want to achieve good result, the list should be run up by the local government and not by the state government. Otherwise, it will be subject to political manipulation, and it becomes a political tool in which either the governor can use to score political points or use to reward political apologists, other than the real people that actually needed this palliative. If you, like you said in the opening monologue, you knew what happened with COVID palliative. Government released the palliative, and people were using the palliative as if it was their constituency project, and we don't want that experience. And that's why a lot of people were skeptical with the initial list. And the National Economic Council met yesterday, and they came up with this. But I think we should devolve it down to the local government.
Dr. Johnson, interesting dimension there in terms of, the local government, and you also mentioned the polling unit, which is quite interesting. But what people really worry about is, again, monitoring. What kind of mechanism should be put in place to monitor when this starts, and who should put that mechanism in place?
You see, in the first instance, I am against cash transfer. If you listen to the insert you had concerning the meeting, when the former central bank governor and the governor of Anambra State spoke with respect to what they are doing, and then juggling a lot of balls and talking about the injection of cash transfer and the capacity of cash transfer tending to contribute to the inflation rather than ameliorate the pains of the people. So, in the first instance, I'm totally against cash transfer. There are other things we could do. One thing that came out of the meeting is the release of grains. You see, if we subsidize agriculture, we transfer the subsidy you are using for petroleum products, transfer it to agriculture, you have food security. Once there is food security, you solve the bulk of the problem in the society is solved when food security is guaranteed. So as far as this cash transfer are concerned, you could see the objections that were raised legitimately by governors that were in the previous administration that are now in new administration. The same thing will happen in the future when governors also will complain about this kind of model we want to adopt. The best model is for us to use the local government. And the local government, you have easy access to your local government chairman. You can easily access your local government chairman compared to the governor, or compared to the commissioners, or compared to the ministers who are far away from the people. And I've said it is very simple. In actual sense, if we really want to do it, the way and manner that we distribute ballot box within 4 or 5 hours that gets to every nook and cranny in Nigeria, it is possible for us also to distribute whatever palliative we want to distribute, using the means through which we get ballot papers and ballot boxes, get into those communities to distribute deliverables of democracy. But when it comes
interesting dimension there, Dr. Johnson. Interesting dimension there. And you mentioned the local government chairman. If it's too far, you have your councillor. Thank you so much for talking to us, public affairs analyst Dr. Jide Johnson.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Let's now turn to the court, where former Minister of Aviation, Stella Odua, has pleaded not guilty to a 25-count charge of money laundering. Ms. Odua was arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission before the Federal High Court in Abuja. After taking plea, Justice Inyangeko ordered that the Attorney General take over the matter and that the EFCC should transfer the case file to the AGF in 2 weeks, while upholding the existing administrative bail conditions granted her by the EFCC. The court ordered that the terms of conditions also be made available to the AGF. The court adjourned to 17th October for trial. And still ahead on TVC News, Kaduna State records outbreak of diphtheria as state government puts residents on high alert. We'll bring you more after this break. Stay with us.
You and your hair go through a lot. The heat, rain, chaos. It's a non-stop war against total breakdown. But just like you, your hair can stay strong no matter what. Mega Growth Break-Free Daily Leave-In Strengthener for all hair types is infused with a unique blend of natural oils and conditioning proteins that helps protect your hair. Mega Growth Break